What is going on, you guys? I hope you guys are having a great new year. I hope you had a great new year. That's what I meant to say. So I hope you guys had a great one. And I am now going to be talking about my 10 favorite movies of 2021. Now, I didn't really get a chance to review too many films this year, mainly because college was not nice to me this semester. But luckily, I got through it, passed all my classes, and now it's time for me to talk about the 10 best movies I saw this year. The 10 films that meant the most to me, the 10 films I had the most fun watching in the theater. Now, granted, a lot of movies on this list I did not review. So, if you guys want to tell me your favorite films of the year, please comment below if you'd like. Let me know. And before I get into my top 10, as well as my honorable mentions, please note this is just my list. It's my list, it's not your list. There's your list, and there's other people's lists, and there's my list. So if your favorite film is not on my list, or it's not as high or as low as you think it should be, then maybe just keep that to your list. So guys, let's get started with my honorable mentions. Now, first off, these are films that I did really enjoy watching. Some of them I may never watch again, but some of them that I really enjoyed watching this year and that I had a great time watching, and I think you guys should check out. My first honorable mention is Nobody. This film was a big surprise for me, especially for a performance from Bob Odenkirk, because this kind of reminded me of when Liam Neeson did Taken for the first time. He was a kind of a drama, and like he did star in a Star Wars. He was in a Star Wars movie once, and that movie was a big surprise for him as an action star, and this movie was a big surprise for Bob Odenkirk because he really solidified himself as an action hero. And if we do get a second movie, I will be there definitely to go check it out. So definitely check out Nobody if you haven't seen it this year. My second honorable mention is Cruella. Now, when it comes to live action Disney films, I don't think they're a good idea. To be honest, if it's not broken already the first time, don't fix it by doing it again. Now, this film did it right. Now, I didn't really have much anticipation for this because most live action Disney films for me don't work. There's only two that I really like, and that is the Beauty and the Beast remake, and that is The Jungle Book. Those two I really like. This one might be the third one because this one really told a really good story about the famous villain from 101 Dalmatians, and it really brought forth something that I think that most Disney films don't do, and that's a lot of heart and humor and soul to it, which is what most live action Disney films lack. So, and plus, Emma Stone and Emma Thompson really knocked it out of the park with this movie. So, if you haven't seen Cruella, I really think you should check it out. My third honorable mention is one that I do own, and that is Riot and the Last Dragon. Now, this is a really good movie. It's one of the most original films that Disney gave us this year. And I really think the characters are very well done. I thought the animation was great, and I think the story is so original that I think that this is what Disney needs to focus on doing more instead of live action Disney films. So, Disney, if you're ever watching this, which I highly doubt you are, but do more movies similar to this one. Original and creative. So yeah, Raya and the Last Dragon. Another honorable mention that I have is The Green Knight. Now, this movie was interesting because it is definitely one of the most visually captivating movies of the whole year, but it's a movie I don't have any interest in watching ever again. I think a one-time viewing of this movie is just enough for me. And while this movie does have a lot of things that are great about it, especially the visuals and the performances are really well done too, I don't think that this movie has a lot of rewatchability factor to it. And for all the people out there who love this movie, trust me, I loved it. But it's not a rewatchable movie for me. So definitely check out The Green Knight if you missed it. And for someone who has read the Anglo-Saxon poem, if it is Anglo-Saxon, correct me if I'm wrong below, but I read the poem in college, and this was a movie that I actually knew going in. I knew a lot about going in. So yeah, definitely check that out. Another honorable mention that I have is The Vigil, which is a underrated horror movie that actually tells a fictional story surrounding a real-life Jewish custom where a man has to basically stay with the dead body of someone until the next morning to keep the evil away from it. This movie was very underrated. You can find it on Hulu, and I really had a good time watching it. Now, I probably should... This movie came out like 2 years ago, but for me, it came out this year. I don't care. I think it's a really underrated horror movie, and I think that you should really check it out if you missed it. Another honorable mention that might freak some people out is Halloween Kills. Yeah, I had a great time with this movie. Granted, it's not the best Halloween movie. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that this was one of the most fun experiences I've had in the theater because I really like John Carpenter's original Halloween. I really enjoy Halloween 2. Halloween 3 is a guilty pleasure. 4, 5, and 6 I can do without. H2O is my favorite sequel, which I will be reviewing the Halloween movies, the rest of them, leading up to Halloween Ends this September and October, and I will get to ranking those as well as soon as I'm done with that. So, but Halloween Kills was a big surprise. Now, granted, this movie is not as good as Halloween 2018 in my opinion, and even though it's just a movie about Michael Myers killing people, that's what I went to go to this movie to see, and I really had a good time watching it. So, if you didn't maybe like Halloween Kills first time you saw it, maybe turn your brain off just a little bit because this movie does have a lot of gory fun in it, and it's brutal, but it's definitely worth your time. So yeah, definitely check that out if you missed it. And my final honorable mention is In the Heights. Now, I'm not a musical guy by any means, but this was a damn good film. And I don't really, the only musical I really can say that I love is Annie. And that was from the one from back in the, I think it was the 80s or something, 80s or 70s. Maybe I could be wrong. But granted, I'm not a musical guy. This musical did give me what I want. And from a guy who has seen Hamilton, wasn't a huge fan of that musical. I'm sorry, I'm on an island with that. If you love that musical, I'm glad you do. It's just not for me. But In the Heights definitely gave me what I wanted in a musical. Great characters, great humor, not too many singing moments, and I really, really thought it was really good. And this movie should be nominated for an Oscar. That's what I think. Okay, guys, those are my honorable mentions. Now it's time to talk about my 10 best films of the whole year. The 10 films that meant the most to me, the 10 films I will see myself rewatching again, and the 10 movies that I had the most fun watching. And see if you can figure out what my favorite film of the year is. I'm sure you guys might be surprised if it ends up on this list, or that it ended up that high. So guys, let's get started. Number 10 best movie of the whole year is a movie that does have a lot of mixed reactions to it, but I loved it. Malignant. This is a movie that I think James Wan needs to do more of because it's so original and so out there that I think James Wan needs to do more original movies like this. Now, granted, I love the Conjuring movies, especially the first two, and Annabelle Creation, which is my favorite. And I really like the Saw movies, mainly just the first one. And I really like Insidious. That's one of my favorite horror films of all time. And so, yeah, so Malignant is definitely an original film that James Wan needs to do more of. And if you did not like this movie, all right, that's fine. I totally get it. But if you want to give it a second shot, please do. I think it is worth your time. Number 9 is a film that when I saw this, I didn't have too much anticipation for it, but when I saw it, it really meant something to me, and that is Encanto, another Disney film that came out this year that I really enjoyed. The animation is great too, just like in Raya and the Last Dragon. The characters are great, especially when it comes to a family who has magical powers, and there's one girl who doesn't have one, and she's trying to live with the fact that she may not get one. And it's like dealing with the fact that our families, even if we're not magical, we still are a family and we stick together. So that's kind of the main message that I got from it, and I was really excited. And plus, even as I talk about it right now, a lot of the songs that play in this movie are still in my head right now. So yeah, number 9, Encanto. Number 8 is a film that I saw on Netflix with my girlfriend, and I'm glad she introduced me to this movie because I loved Fatherhood. Now, Kevin Hart can sometimes be a mixed bag for me, especially when it comes to comedy, because I'm not a huge fan of him. I don't dislike him, but I just think that he's not the best in my opinion. But still, I will say that this performance by him was so damn good that I think he should do more dramatic roles like this. And the fact that this movie is about a single father raising his daughter after his wife passed away after giving birth to her, this movie gave me far more respect than I did before for single parents. And not saying I don't respect them or didn't before, but I have a lot of respect for single parents out there because the fact that you're raising a child on your own, major kudos to you. And as a guy who was raised by a single mom, this movie really meant something to me. And so I'd recommend you check out Fatherhood, even if you like Kevin Hart or don't like him. Check this out. You might gain something from it. Number 7 is a film that I didn't anticipate too much, but I ended up walking away loving this, and that is Ghostbusters Afterlife. I had a lot of fun with this movie, and granted, this might shock some of you. I have never seen the original Ghostbusters. I know, I know, I know, never seen it. Never saw it, never saw the second one, and I didn't care for the remake, because I thought remaking it again, okay. Remaking another movie again is what I should say. I really liked Ghostbusters Afterlife. I thought the family dynamic was really good. I thought the action was really good, and I thought that there was a lot of moments from Ghostbusters that I do have some nostalgia for without ever having seen the whole thing. And I really liked the humor in this movie. I thought it was really well done. I thought the characters were great. I thought that this was a great follow-up to an original classic that people love. And granted, this movie does make me want to go back and watch the first two Ghostbusters. The remake I may never watch, but we'll see. So yeah, definitely check out Ghostbusters Afterlife. And I don't get why this movie has so much mixed reception. A lot of people, some people hate it, some people love it. I'm one of those people who really liked it. Number 7 was Ghostbusters Afterlife for me. Number 6, okay. Now, this is a movie that I didn't really expect to be on my list because it's a film that scared me to death this year, but it's not a horror movie. It's a documentary, and that is Seaspiracy. I never knew about the corruption of our oceans before watching this because normally I'm not taught too much about it in school or really pay too much attention to it, but Ali Tabrizi, I think that's how you say his name correctly. I'm sorry if I did. Sorry if I didn't say it wrong. Sorry if I said it wrong, but this movie really taught me a lot about what's going on with our oceans. The fact that whales are getting killed because of all the fishing equipment being in them. The fact that there's so many plastics in our ocean. There's like a garbage patch in it. I mean, I knew about that, but I didn't know it was this level of disaster, if you really think about it. And the fact that the own maker of this documentary was risking his own life, literally, like he could have been killed for making this movie, this documentary. He needs to bring us more stuff like this because this is a documentary that I think you should check out. Even if you're not into this kind of material, you have to watch it because it will really open your eyes to what's going on in our world right now, especially with our oceans and how we can stop it and what we can do to save it. So yeah, definitely check out Seaspiracy. Okay, guys. Number 5 is a film that I knew was going to end up on this list, no matter what, because I love the first movie to death, and I had nothing but anticipation for this one. And that movie is A Quiet Place Part 2. I love this movie so much. Now, I know I didn't review the original Quiet Place because I didn't start my channel yet until after it came out. But I loved A Quiet Place. It was one of my favorite movies of that year. And this movie might top the first one by a little bit, or it might be on the exact same level. I'm not too sure yet. But I really love this movie. I think it's a great sequel, a great follow-up. Emily Blunt does a great job, especially the two kids who star in this movie. And there were some very shocking sequences in this movie, especially one involving a bear trap that I still get chills whenever I think about it. So A Quiet Place Part 2, definitely one of the best movies of the year and one most anticipated films that did not disappoint. And John Krasinski, if you're listening, please give us Part 3. Give us Part 3. We've earned it. Number 4 is a film that actually the original of this film, I knew we needed a remake for it because I didn't like the first movie that much. I knew we needed a remake for it. And thank God James Gunn came around and gave us the amazing The Suicide Squad. I love this movie so much. This movie is so damn good. And people might ask, what is your opinion on David Ayer's movie? Well, when I first saw it, I didn't dislike it. I thought it was okay. I thought it was an okay film. I watched it again before going to see this movie, and I thought it was mediocre. It dropped a little bit for me. And now when I saw this movie is done so well. It's more funny, it's more action-packed, and it's more surprising than David Ayer's film. And to all the people out there who love David Ayer's movie, you can like that movie all you want. It's just not for me anymore. In fact, the more I watch this amazing film, the more I hate David Ayer's movie. And so I'm glad James Gunn came around and gave us this. Especially John Cena as Peacemaker, Idris Elba, Margot Robbie, and Sylvester Stallone as King Shark. This movie is fucking epic. This is everything that we needed in a Suicide Squad movie. I thought it was very colorful. The performances were very well done. Definitely, if you didn't like David Ayer's Suicide Squad, check this movie out. This is the movie that you want in a Suicide Squad movie. Okay, guys, my top 3. The 3 best films I saw this year. Now, I know people just do a top 2 or maybe just top 1, but top 3. These movies I had very high anticipation for, well, except for one of them. But number 3 was my most anticipated movie of last year until COVID hit. Then it became my most anticipated film of this year. And this is a film that if I walked away not liking it, I probably would have cried of how disappointed I was. But this movie gave me everything I was looking for when I saw the trailers. And that movie is Dune. From a guy who's read the book. I've read the book. I've read all of it. And I even read the second book too, and even part of the third book. Dune is everything that I want in a science fiction adaptation, especially for this large scale of a book, because this was a movie waiting to be made. I know David Lynch did it back in the 80s and it was pretty bad, but he has gained a lot of respect for doing it despite how bad the movie is. You could ask anybody, like, yeah, do you hate Dune? And people will say, yeah, I hate it, but I give a lot of David Lynch a lot of respect for attempting it. So you can say that it did kind of work out for him in the end. And Denis Villeneuve, who directed films that I love to this day, my favorite of his is Prisoners. I really enjoy Enemy. I still haven't watched Sicario yet, but I do like Arrival, and Blade Runner 2049 was a huge surprise for me. And Dune is definitely a film that I cannot wait for part 2. The performances are very well done. The special effects were epic. And the costumes, oh my god, if this movie doesn't win an Oscar for Best Costumes, I'm going to probably go crazy for it. So please definitely check out Dune if you missed it. I don't think you need to read the book in order to understand this, because my girlfriend and I went to go see this. She never read the book, and she walked out of this movie with her jaw on the floor because of how awesome and epic this movie was. And I cannot wait for part 2. So number 3 was Dune. Number 2, alrighty, you guys. Number 2 is probably everyone's favorite film of this year. It was the most anticipated movie of the whole year for a lot of people. That or Dune. It could have been this one, but number 2 for me, I thought I was going to like this movie the most. I thought I was going to like Dune the most, but then I saw this movie, and it topped it for a little bit for me. And that is Spider-Man No Way Home. I love this movie because it gave me so much nostalgia for Sam Raimi's original trilogy. Look, I own them. Sam Raimi trilogy, right here. I love the Sam Raimi trilogy. And I haven't seen the Andrew Garfield movies yet. I'll get to them soon. And the Tom Holland movies, I really enjoy Homecoming, and a lot of people love Far From Home more, and I'm on an island when I say that I prefer Homecoming a little bit over Far From Home, but I still really enjoy those 2 movies. So No Way Home did have a lot to prove. When they brought back Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, I was like, take my money, take it all, because they gave me what I wanted. Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin was amazing to see in this movie, and trust me, the big twists and the big surprises, even though the movie's been out for a while, I'm still not going to say anything about it because, I still want to respect the people who still haven't watched this movie yet. But definitely, if you are really anticipating Far From Home, or No Way Home, sorry, Spider-Man No Way Home, you're going to walk away more excited than you did when you walked in. So definitely check out Spider-Man No Way Home if you missed it. It's definitely worth your time. And it's also my second favorite Spider-Man movie of all time. Okay, guys. The best movie I saw this year. I saw a lot of great movies in 2021, but there was one movie that stood out among the rest. This movie shocked me the most. I had little anticipation for it. It shocked me. It got me excited. It made me cry multiple times. And every time I watch it, I cry even more. And I get more excited. And I cannot wait for what happens after this. My favorite movie of 2021 is Demon Slayer Mugen Train. This movie is everything I want in an anime as well as a movie itself. And I thought the performances in this movie, especially the voice acting, it was all perfect. If you watch the English dubbed version of this movie, the voice acting feels great. When you ever watch an anime and you listen to the voice actors who are voicing the English part of this, it doesn't sound right. You can see like, oh man, those people don't sound like the actual anime characters. This movie got it perfect. This movie got it exactly the way it should be. I really liked the anime. I thought it was gorgeous. I thought it was really, really well done. And the fact that this is a small company doing this was epic. Like, I was like, oh my God. Like, when I saw the show before going to see this, I was like, okay, I'm interested to see what goes on next. And this movie might have actually topped season one a little bit for me. This movie is so damn good that if it doesn't get an Oscar for Best Animated Feature, I don't know what the heck's gonna happen. I don't know what I'm gonna do because this movie has earned that Oscar, no doubt. I cried multiple times in this movie. Rengoku is a fucking badass in this movie. He's probably my favorite character in the whole movie. Tanjiro is great. Zenitsu is awesome, and Inosuke is pretty funny too. And I really want to really support this movie because I think it deserves every bit of recognition that it's gotten. And the fact that a lot of people don't put this in their top 10s of the year that I've seen so far really is mind blowing because this movie is considered to be one of the best films of the year, and it earned so much money that the fact that we still haven't gotten the fact that it's not in a lot of people's lists says a lot. Says a lot of bad things to me. And also, in case you were wondering what my top 10 was before I pulled out the movie, you might have been able to notice that I'm wearing a shirt of the movie itself, and also this little figurine that I have of Tanjiro. I actually have 3 of them. I have Inosuke and Zenitsu, but they're back over there. So I just put him here because I feel like he earned that spot by standing there waiting. So, okay, so guys, so those are my top 10 best movies of 2021. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Look forward to my next review, which will be top 10 most disappointing movies of this year. Now, it will be called Worst Movies of the Year for me, but not a lot of these films I hated, but a lot of them I had anticipation for, and they really did not do well. So guys, look forward to that video pretty soon. And guys, thank you for watching, and have a great rest of your January.